Hello beautiful people of the world and welcome to a new PD tutorial. Before we go on with the arrays, we need to learn a new object which is called line. The line object is useful to create ramps between two different values in a given time. So basically, if you have two values and you want to go from one value to the other one in a specific time gradually, you will need this object. So the first thing that we want to do is to create a new message box. And we can type in the first value that we want to start from. So let's say it's 0. And then we type a comma, which is really important, don't forget this. And then we type in the second value, the one we want to go to, so let's say 1. And lastly, we have to type in the time value. So let's say 3000. And this value is in milliseconds, so 3000 milliseconds means 3 seconds. So now we can create the line object. And lastly, we will create a number atom to see what's happening. So basically, what's going to happen is that we're going to go from the 0 number to the 1 value in 3 seconds. So let's switch to performance mode and let's try it out. So as you can see, we created a smooth transition between the first value and the second value, the start value and the end value. This process is called interpolation. Okay, so if we click again on the message box, the line object is going to go from the 1 value, which is the actual value, to the 0 number instantly, and it will start the ramp again. Okay, pretty easy. Now we can change the time value, for instance, so let's say 1000. And it goes faster. So pretty easy to understand. Now, what if we wanted to go from 0 to 1 and then back from 1 to 0 in a smooth way? We can use variables into the message box to control the line object. So instead of having the start value and the end value, we just use the $1, which is a variable, and we can use a toggle. So now the line object is ready to the 1 value. So if we put again the 1 number into it, it's going to go from the 1 value to the 1 value in 1000 milliseconds. Now we can switch between 0 and 1 with the toggle object. And we can go back and forth. But of course, we can use any value. So let's say we want to go between 0 and 127. We can still connect these two new message boxes to the first one, and we can go from 0 to 127 and then back to 0. So again, back and forth. Okay, let's say that we want also to control the time value. We can use the pack object. Now, the pack object is an object that basically packs several values into one thing, so to speak, which is called a list. So we can specify how many elements has to be packed into the list by inserting creation arguments. And the creation arguments specify the type of values that will make up the list. So in this case, we're going to use two numbers and we're going to use float values. So we can use a number atom to set the time value, which is going to go to the right inlet. And we can use, again, the toggle for the values that we want to interpolate between. So now we can change the value here. Of course, they have to be positive numbers. And it's going to be 771 milliseconds. And as you can see, since we are setting the time value using the right inlet of the pack object, the pack object itself is not going to be triggered. So now that we have specified the time value, so time value in milliseconds, and this is the actual values that we're going to interpolate between. Same result, basically. We are creating a list, one of which is a time value, and the other one is the value that we want to interpolate between. Okay, so we have also the line tilde object, because this one is for control signals, but we also have the version for audio signals. And for instance, we can use this to create, if we are interpolating between 0 and 1, we can use this to control the amplitude of an audio signal, for instance, an oscillator. So let's switch it off. Okay, now when we turn it on, the amplitude value is gradually going to go from 0 to 1 and then back from 1 to 0 in 2 seconds. We can change the value, the time value, and it's going to go faster. So let's say 50. And you can use this mechanism to avoid clicks while changing the amplitude of an audio signal before sending it to the output. So how this is going to be useful with the arrays? Well, because we're going to use the line objects to read the values into the arrays, and we're going to have very interesting effects, but we will talk about it in the next video. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit like, hit the bell to be notified when a new video is going to be uploaded, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!